Hey guys, I'm Ryan. This is our new Nano system we got set up. We're going to talk about it, see what we have in stock, and then move on to care and other needs for these fish. So of all the Nano fish that are available, these are just a few of what we have, and we're going to try to keep rotating them out and give us something new probably every other week, maybe once a month, depending on what's available. So right here we have the invertebrates, one of the Nano fish, probably one of the more hardier ones. Interesting color, and when they really get to school up in that 40 and that 55 gallon, you get a bunch of them. You really get to see what the true fish's behavior is. Typical pH, you're looking at that 7 is going to be best. Obviously don't put them with things like angels. Here we have the chili rasbora, one of the smaller of the fish that you can keep in the aquarium. They're going to be really hard to keep just because of how often you have to feed them, and the food that you need, it's pretty much a powder. If we can keep that up, that's going to be the best thing for you. Another really interesting, colorful fish. As far as pH with these guys, we're going to want to keep them a little lower. That like 6.5 to 7 is going to be best for them. They like that slightly more acidic water. So in this tank we have our green fire tetras and our white cloud mountain minnows. I'll start out with mountain minnows. Really hardy fish, cooler water, can pretty much be tank mates with anything. As far as food, you're looking at flake, smaller pellets like the Hikari micro pellets, frozen Daphnia, they'll do smaller bloodworms. As far as pH and stuff, you right in the middle like everything else. As far as a community fish, we're looking at that 7.5 range. Other fish we have in here, the green fire tetras, pretty much identical to the neon tetra, the cardinal tetra, except they have that, well, green color, hence the name. Anything as far as keeping your neon tetra, you do the same with these. Same thing as far as food. Temperature is going to be the same, that 78-ish. pH is going to be in the 7.5 as well. In this tank we have the neon tetras, one of the most staple community fish. Beautiful color, you can see it from across the room, even with the blue background. That blue is so bright and iridescent, it just stands out. Same thing with the neons or the green fires and the white clouds. We're going to keep them on the flake, we're going to keep them on smaller pellets, the bloodworms. 90% of what the community fish are going to eat, these guys will get as well. Keeping these with your community, I mean, you're not going to mess with the pH much. We're still looking at that middle ground, that 7, keep everything happy. We're trying to keep temperature in that 78 range. Can go a little higher, can go a little cooler. They really don't prefer the cool, but they can handle it. You're not going to stress them out terribly so. So in the corner of the neon tetra tank, we have the pygmy cories. With these guys, like every other cory, they do best in schools. So we're gonna try to get 5, 6 of them, if not more, if we can have it. We have the room for it. Excellent bottom feeder. So any of that food that the other fish do not get, these guys will go around and kind of headstand on the bottom trying to get it, helping keep that tank clean. These guys can pretty much stay with anyone. They're going to be so small, a lot of your bigger fish aren't going to mess with them. They hide really well. They also come out and play and school around just as well as the neons and ember tetras and everything else we have in this system. pH and everything's going to be right there at that 7.5 range. Temperature is going to be the same, that 78. Excellent, cool fish to have. You can have a bunch of them and really get to see some interesting personalities in the fish. All right, so as far as filtration for the nano fish, you're gonna want something that's not gonna suck them up and something that's not gonna blow them against the wall as far as flow. So my recommendation is to come across a sponge filter. You can oversize it, it's not gonna hurt, because everything as far as flow that's gonna control this is gonna be about your pump. We can run air pumps rated on 10 gallons for 5s, 3s, things like that. You just got to valve it down. But if we do something like a 40 on a 3 or a 5, it's going to create a lot of flow, create a whole lot of turbulence up at the front or top of the water. So don't want to do that. So when it comes to these fish, yes, they're little, so that means little mouths, little stomachs, whole 9 yards. We've got a few varieties of foods we can do. It's always best to kind of mix it up. One of my personal go-to favorites is going to be the frozen baby brine, frozen Daphnia, the first bites by Hikari and the micro pellets by Hikari. Really doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as it's varied is going to be the best thing. So with feeding these guys, we're going to want to do it multiple times a day. Reason being is they're small, so their metabolism's kind of fast. Plus at the temperature water we're going to keep these guys at 78, they need it multiple times a day. The first bites, for example, it's powder pretty much. So we don't want to grab it and pinch it really. We want to try to use something to scoop it out, but we got to do it in little amounts because you can overfeed really fast. There goes your water parameters, which these guys do not appreciate. They're really delicate fish. All right, so we're feeding them, and this is that mix of kind of the frozen Daphnia, the Hikari first bites, the Hikari micro pellets, just to show you that mix, what it looks like, how we're doing. I am feeding the frozen food. Keep in mind I did thaw it out, drained all that water off of it, got some of these guys tank water to help dissipate it so that way I can suck it up with the syringe. So right here we have all of our nano tanks. We've got the fluval specs, the floras, all these. They're great products. They're all in one. Your filter, your light, the only thing you really have to do is get a heater. And this is what we're going to be looking at for when we get to these nano fish, because in something like this, the chili reservoirs, we can have a school of 7 or 8 of them, still have that movement and everything. We can do our plants, make it a really beautiful tank, and we're really not in it a whole lot. We also have something like the Aquarium rimless. If we want to do something more fancy, we can do a hanging light, small little canister filter. Options are limitless. But with that, there are some considerations to take into account as far as that filtration we talked about earlier, and tank mates. With tank mates on this, we're still going to want to stay in that nano range. So for something like that 5, 10, 15 gallon, we can have a lot more of the rasboras, the tetras, the cories that are small. Even the full-size adult cories, we're just not going to be able to have as many of them. We can do something like the dwarf South American cichlids, the apistos, but we can do some centerpiece fish like that, maybe some smaller praecox rainbows, things like that. We just got to try to keep everyone happy with those water parameters. So that's just kind of a brief introduction into the nano fish. Stay tuned to see what we have coming in the coming weeks and months. This is going to be a really fun project, and for anyone who's looking for that small little workplace desktop tank, something to kind of take your mind off things, this is really rewarding, really fun, just interesting because you get behavior you get to watch from your normal tank in a really small condensed package. Thanks for checking us out today. Don't forget, like always on YouTube, like, subscribe, check out our Facebooks, like us there, check out our website, get to see what's coming in and any type of new deals we have going on.